Why did separation ever arise? If you look at negative thoughts, they revolve around a notion that we are separate, limited, and incomplete. They all hang on this root belief. So the common sense approach is to look at that core belief and see if it is true and confirm what our true nature actually is. That is the practical resolution of the issue. Then there are no more questions and doubts. To resolve this matter through clear understanding is the best use of one's energy and curiosity. All else is a delaying tactic. No matter how much you try to get to first causes, you must still clarify this basic misunderstanding in the end. As to why the ignorant notion of separation ever arose in the first place, a practical answer might be that from a young age we were conditioned by a wrong belief, which we innocently took as true. Everything else evolved from this. There is no real explanation for why the notion of separation arose because any bit of looking shows that such a condition is not the case. There is no separation at all. Seeing this, the root is addressed, and all delusive notions are undercut here and now. Ignorance and suffering have a cause, but when you investigate the cause, you find that the cause is not present. It is a false assumption. The separation from source never happened, so there can be no explanation for why separation occurred, because it never did. It is a false question. You do not answer a false question. You see it as false and discard it. From another angle, you can say that with the rise of the potential for conceptual, abstract thinking, the mind developed the capacity to formulate notions like I and mine. The mind took its own creations for substantial, real entities. Then it got a bit lost in its own concepts, for a time. But awareness has not been entangled or bound by these errors of the mind. In fact, it is what is seeing this and motivating the return to the clear vision of things. One final angle on this. Why implies causality. It means what is the reason? How did this occur? When did this occur? What was the motivation? These are clearly thoughts in the mind. The belief in causality is driving these questions. That is to say, causality is taken as valid. But causality itself is a creation of thought. It applies to the world of appearances. Outside of the mind, you cannot speak of causality as such, because it only applies after the mind is present and has created notions of time, space, and agency. So to asking why did the thought of separation ever arise? Assume that before the mind was present, causality was in operation. So it is a false question. At a young age, the notion of separation was thrust on the mind and taken as true. But this can be re-examined and resolved now. Then there are no longer any problems. In seeing this, the questions, doubts, and suffering fall away. You are perfect and completely free right now because there is no actual separation from source.